Good morning, Canberra for Cam's Mortgage Minute on Wednesday, February 6th. Hey, today I'm going to talk to you about divorce. Unfortunately, as we know, almost 1 in 2 marriages end in divorce these days. And as a mortgage broker, I do run into this time to time. And I thought I'd share with you some key points that you have to keep in mind as it relates to financial matters and other things. So just some important things to consider and things that you need to ponder and really get a handle on right away in that traumatic and stressful time. Obviously, the most important thing is your kids, your family. That's where, that's obviously vitally important. That's dealt with at an emotional level, but I find the financial side of things can sure mess people up. So here's some things to think about. Your home and property rights. You need to know what are your matrimonial home rights. You should be, definitely doing some due diligence to find that out. Your property rights at large. That's again a consideration, especially let's say you have more than one property, you have an investment property. You need to get appraisals typically. Those are going to determine the value of the things that you own mutually and jointly. That's going to be a part of the process you have to consideration. There's going to be things in the house. Who brought what into the relationship? Well, what was that? Aunt Estelle gave you that, and Uncle George gave you that. Who gets what? I mean, that's obviously something that people always seem to have a big fight over, but that's something that you need to think about when things are calm and when you can kind of rationally go through it. Investment properties. You have local properties, properties maybe that are overseas or timeshares or whatever. Who's going to get what? Bank accounts, if you have joint accounts, that's something definitely worth looking at, because do they have overdraft? What if one person goes into it, spends a whole lot of money, and the other person isn't aware of it? Same thing with joint credit cards and credit lines. That's something you need to let the bank know forthwith, and so they can deal with it, and you guys have to have a common plan that you agree on, especially if one person abuses that privilege and racks up the money and that sort of thing. Any kind of special banking that you might have. Again, offshore accounts, anywhere else where you have joint checking or joint banking that you're liable for. Mortgages, now there's a big one. The question is, who's responsible for looking after the mortgage? Are you both on it? The lender, when do you notify them? What's that sort of a thing? What's going to happen with all of that? Mutual liabilities, you definitely have to consider what else could you possibly be liable for. Maybe you guys own a business together. Maybe one of you has a business. They've guaranteed certain things, and certain debts to other people, that sort of thing. So those are a lot of the financial considerations that typically come in. What I've run across over the years is usually if in a marital breakup, sometimes one of the people abuses the credit privileges or the credit card privileges, and I have seen so many folks being pushed into either consumer proposal or bankruptcy in a marriage breakup. And the biggest thing that unfortunately, not only do the kids play a pawn in this sort of thing and they go back and forth, but finances are a big component of it. So it's very important to get this ironed out and figured out, especially if you see this is coming on the horizon. I mean, it's tough obviously to sit down with folks when there's a lot of emotions flying and everything else, but the bottom line is try to do it on a cooler state of mind, as best you can. But it's so important early on when this is, suddenly cropped up. If it's surprised, a lot of people sometimes don't see this coming. So if it suddenly comes up, you've got to make sure that you get this financial stuff in order. As hard as that's going to be, as much as you've got all the emotional stuff, but this financial stuff is what's going to linger and basically, drive you into the grave for a lot of folks. And I've seen the damage that this can do. So if you're facing a situation like that, and you need some help or assistance in that matter, we're here to help. We can help direct you in the right direction. We can maybe steer you on the right path, at least give you some sage advice, hopefully, and get you on the right path in such a difficult time. Anyways, as I've mentioned to you before, there's also marital marital breakup mortgages as well that allow you to refinance your house to up to 95% of its value. So sometimes those are needed. Sometimes the house just has to be sold. But the bottom line is these are things you got to consider. I mean, you've got the family, you've got the kids, and you've got the financial. Both of them are going to weigh heavily on this, and both of them are going to have an impact going forward. And both of them, you have to deal with them as best you can in a calm, rational manner. Anyway, just a few thoughts I thought I'd mention out to you, because again, I do see this a fair amount, and I see the havoc that this wreaks on so many areas of people's lives. So hopefully this can assist you. And again, obviously in this sort of a situation, the sooner you can get a handle on this stuff, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but the better, at least the more smoother the whole process will go. Anyway, it's been Cam for Cam's Mortgage Minute, and I will see you tomorrow.